Hey Laha folks, it's Lev. Welcome back to another video. For those of you who are new, I use he and pronouns. For those of you who have never seen me before and this is your first video, hi, I'm a trans guy. I got top surgery like 6 days ago and am 5 days post-op. I'm doing much better than I did when I filmed my last video, which is 1 day post-op. I will make more top surgery related videos in the near future about recovery and whatnot once more time has elapsed. In this video, I want to talk about relationships because October has been a wild month for me. And I not only got top surgery, but I experienced a relationship breakup again. And my ex broke up with me like 3 weeks ago. So I'm going to talk about that. So I don't want to go into too much detail about the ins and outs of what happened. But we were dating since mid-March and broke up. We were meant to hit 7 months in October, but the breakup happened a few days before then, so we didn't hit 7 months, so it was like 6 months something. I mean, it's a pretty good run. There were, speaking generally, there were problems that I myself was in denial of because I kept getting reassurance that it was fine, that we'll work through it together. And then I felt like I was made to believe that we were going to work through shit together, like problems we had, which I won't go into, but conflicts, issues that we had, I was continuously reassured throughout the months that it's okay, we're gonna work through it together, yada yada yada. And then at the start of the relationship, I also felt like I was walking on eggshells a lot, and I started walking on eggshells less as time went on, but there was still this part of me that felt off, like in the relationship something felt off, like something didn't feel right, and it was hanging onto my subconscious the entire time. And I know about this because once we split and the relationship ended, that weight, that thing, that feeling of something isn't right here, just it just dissipated. And then it feels like I've just been unlocked from shackles and freed out of a cage. Like something wasn't right, and I knew something wasn't right. And yeah, once it ended, I just felt so much better. Yeah, walking on eggshells, even though they were teaching me that it's okay to not walk on eggshells and I don't have to walk on eggshells, I still walked on eggshells. And that was probably one of the things that my subconscious hang on to, saying it's not, something's wrong here. The breakup itself, it happened over text, and I was mad because I was just in call with them literally an hour before they sent that breakup text, and I asked if there was stuff they wanted to talk about. Like I usually ask that at the end of calls, like, is there anything you want to talk about, anything when you get off your chest at the moment? And they said no. So I assumed everything was fine. Then they boom hit me with the breakup text an hour later. And I was mad. Firstly, because there was dishonesty. Secondly, because they did it over text. And then next day we had a call. I requested a call. We organized a call. And I was hoping to get some answers. I was hoping to get something that made sense in all of this. And all the answers they gave me came off as excuses. So basically I didn't get any answers. I won't go into it, but what they said doesn't make sense in the context of what they've told me and their history and their past, like, and who they are. Like, nothing added up. Nothing added up. It didn't add up. And I'm now, to this day, still left in this lingering, what the fuck? What the fuck is the actual reason state? Like, left in darkness as to why. And for me, honesty is a big thing, and they were being dishonest. And that was the reason why I got so angry. I wasn't angry that they broke up with me. I was angry at the dishonesty. If someone is not interested in me anymore or feel like it's not working out and they say, I don't want to date you anymore, or I'm not interested anymore, this isn't working out for me, I respect that. Like, I won't even be mad at the person. Like, I will feel hurt, yes, because loss of a relationship, but I won't feel mad at the person or angry at the person because there's no dishonesty. There's like transparency, honesty, clear communication. There's nothing to be mad about. I got so angry because of the dishonesty. It's like, was I a rebound? Did they not see me as worth fighting for? What else happened? I don't know. What other thing could have happened? Although they did say that it's nothing to do with me and it's them, which also didn't add up based on the reasons they gave me for our breakup. Nothing added up. And it also happened out of the blue. No warning, no context, boom, just dropped it. And I'm like, oh, how do I process this? When I first saw the text, the breakup text, I was like, is this real? And I was just like, what? And then I told my friends and family, and some of them thought I was joking because no one saw it coming. Everyone's like, what? What? Literally, what? Yeah, and then the whole week after the breakup, I was just writing every day. Like, I was writing a lot of lyrics and just raw emotions out, uncensored. Channeling Taylor Swift's All Too Well 10-minute version on repeat, and just like, yes, a lot of words were written, and even when I look back now, I mean, like, now I know, like, the state I was in at that point in time of the aftermath journey, shall I say? Like, day one was ex broke up with me over text. Day 2, aftermath. Day 3, I saw my therapist. Day 4 was revelation. It was just like, within the whole week, there was like such a mix of emotions, and first few days I was just riled with rage, really. And then that started being leveraged, and I started using the rage to fuel growth, because I'm like, first 2 days of rage, and I started accepting it, and then in talking to my therapist, like, I realized some things, and it's actually a good thing that it happened. It's actually a good thing that they broke up with me. So when I saw my therapist, I was telling him about the breakup, and I said that, yes, the relationship is lost, but most importantly, I didn't lose myself. One big mistake I made early on in dating is I came in with half a cup and expected the other person to fill the other half of the cup. I brought half of myself and expected the other person to fill the half. I didn't bring a whole version of Lev in to the relationship. It's like, it's not like me as a whole person, them as a whole person. We work together in a relationship, in a partnership. It was half of me expecting the person to fill the other half of me. It's like, I had a void, and going into a relationship in the past, I sort of expected the other person to fill the void. So the other person was like half of me. That's why when the first breakup happened, it shattered me for like over 6 months, because I lost myself in losing the relationship. This time, I did not make that same mistake. I think that's why I'm also healing so quickly, and like how quickly I've moved on is because I have not only myself intact, but a more solidified version of me intact. And during the first week of the breakup, and after I started changing my anger, like using it as fuel, I was thinking, I reframed the situation as, this is 7 months of relationship bootcamp. 7 months that I definitely needed. And I think bootcamp is not meant to be easy. For context, I do want to enlist in the Australian Defence Force in future. I wanted to join the military for over about 6 years now, and I haven't done so yet. It's always been this desire of mine, and I want to enlist in the future. That's why I make a lot of reference to boot camps in my own personal life and like anecdotally, because I like comparing stuff. Anyway, 7 months of relationship bootcamp. Bootcamp is not meant to be easy. Like in actual military, people come in as civilian, they come on the other end of bootcamp a different person. I don't know how different, but a different person based on the experience they've gone through in boot camp. I came into this relationship in in March, a very different person. Gone through almost 7 months. I've come out this end a very different person. And I was also talking to my therapist about reclaiming power. Reclaiming power, it's like, I can't change the fact that they broke up with me over text. I can't change the fact that they don't want this anymore. I can't change the fact that it came off as them just dropping me and not wanting to fight for me or the relationship. That's all out of my hands. There's a concept in psychology called radical acceptance. It's like, I accept what has happened, but I also have control. This is how I explain it. It's like, I accept what happened. I can't change it. I don't want to ruminate on it, like, why did they do that, yada, 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 because I can't change any of that. All out of my hands. But what I can change is how I see the situation, how I frame the situation, what I take away from the situation. It's like two components. There's the actual reality of events, and then there's my own interpretation and response to the actual event itself. Two layers. What actually happened and my response to what happens. I can't control this level here, what actually happened. But I can control up here, how I see it, how I respond to it, and how I let it affect me. And then I started feeling like the revelation happened when I started reframing it and being like, you can't, like, yes, relationship's gone, but you can't take everything else away from me. It's like, you can't, and you didn't take myself away, you didn't take me away from me, you didn't take my independence away from me, you didn't take all the other things away from me. And if there was stuff that I felt I had lost in the relationship, it's now time to reclaim it back too. It's like, what did I put into the relationship that I felt like was lost that I need to get back now? One of the things I realized is I have a lot more time now. I have like this newfound independence. I'm still figuring out what to do with it. Newfound independence. I learned so much about myself. I learned what independence means to me in a relationship. I learned now what I need in a relationship for it to work. Important thing I realized is someone who's willing to grow and learn and fight with me, and not feeling like I'm dragging dead weight. That sounds really awful, but in hindsight, that's what it felt like. It's like, I can't have, for me personally, it doesn't work for me if the person is stagnant and I keep moving. Like, it doesn't work in terms of personal growth, in terms of working together to grow the relationship. There needs to be willingness from the other end of the relationship, like me and the other person, to grow together, and not only grow together in the relationship, but grow as individuals. Growing as individuals and growing together in the relationship. That's what I felt was lacking in the relationship, the whole growing together aspect. I grew a lot individually in the relationship, like outside the relationship, but in terms of growing together in the relationship, not so much. And I realized now in hindsight that one of the reasons we kept going so well is because we swept shit under the rug. Like, problems-wise, like, whenever I raised a problem, it's like, I felt like now in hindsight, it's like I was giving false reassurance, like that it's okay, that we can work through it. But like, things didn't happen. It's just, now it comes off as just constantly sweeping it under the rug, just throwing a rug over it and hoping, and we're just avoiding, we're just dancing around the hole. It's like, sweep stuff under, like, actually dig a hole, sweep stuff under it, into the hole, put stuff into the hole, throw a rug over it, and we're just dancing around we're dancing around the hole covered with the rug. Because that's where the confrontation is. That's where the shit gets real happens, and we don't like any of that. And we're just dancing around it, avoiding it the whole time. We never really had major confrontation or a fight. And yeah, nothing like that. Maybe like one. But then they sort of shut down and went into panic mode, and we didn't really get anywhere in terms of talking through it well and stuff. So yeah, just avoiding the hole. And I think now shit gets too real. My ex doesn't know how to deal with it, or they're not willing to work through it, or whatever it may be. So they run. They drop the whole relationship. Fuck, it's too heavy. It's too much. Drop, run. Like, now in hindsight, I'm like, it's a bit weird that we didn't have any confrontation. Like, it's natural to have like conflicts or arguments in a relationship, but what's important is working together to resolve it and also use that to strengthen the relationship. This is what I mean by growth lacking in the relationship. I'm not saying either of us should start fights just for the sake of growth. I'm not saying that at all. But walking on eggshells and denying reality and shit like that doesn't help anyone in the long run. That's where we will feel short, is growing in that aspect, because it's just running and denying and shit. So back onto what I've done throughout the aftermath and the healing. One thing, as I mentioned before, was writing a lot of lyrics and using, like, making music, learning music, like just channeling my rage. A few days was channeling my rage into something productive. For example, songwriting, music, boxing, playing video games. So I was playing Resident Evil Village. I finished the game now, but then at the time I was still playing it, and I got to one of the mini bosses, and then I was like so mad, and I just like leveraged all of my rage into killing the boss. And I was like swearing at the CPU and just like letting all my rage. I was channeling the rage into doing something productive and healthy. I knew that at the time too, that I needed healthy ways to release anger. Like, I'm not gonna go out to the street, pick a fight and punch someone in the face. Like, I knew I needed healthy ways to release anger, so I did all that. And I also went axe throwing. I went cycling to the city. I went axe throwing. Good release of anger, physical release of anger. And by the end of that week, the biggest thing I did to close off the chapter was two things. Firstly, purged my phone of all our photos together. I backed them up in a hard drive, because I'll look back in far future and be like, yes, that period of my life. I wasn't going to delete it permanently and not back it up in my hard drive, which I probably won't go on for a very long time. Purged all the photos off my phone, blocked them on all social medias and whatnot. It's not healthy for me to be friends with them right now, and I do not wish to do that. And I told them that directly. That is best we're not in contact right now. The second thing I did, start more context, is I met my ex to an escape room. That's how we met. I threw an escape room event and I posted it up, and they came to one of my events, and that's how we met. We clicked, and then we sort of took off from there pretty fast, pretty naturally. And to end the chapter of the 7-month relationship bootcamp per se, I did an escape room with my friends and they weren't in the picture. So it's like I opened the chapter with them. I opened this segment of my book with them. The chapter, I opened it with meeting them in an escape room, and I ended it with doing an escape room without them. It's like an actual physical closure as well. It's like they're not in the picture. The whole thing's closed now. Also, I'm not sure if y'all know about this about me, but I'm like so stubborn. Like sometimes ridiculously stubborn. Like brief context, like in high school, I was hospital. I was had really bad medical conditions and mental health concerns. Medical condition is giant wounds on my legs and constantly bleeding and constantly throwing pain. Really bad mental health issues at the time, but I was so stubborn to and determined to do well at school still, so I didn't skip school. I rode my bike to school every day, limped to class on two wounded legs, and somehow had the mental capacity to do above average in school and get into the uni course I wanted in high school. Ridiculously stubborn, didn't look after my health properly. That's too much because I didn't know any better. But that's part of me is still stuck with me. Like I'm controlling it better now, as in not do that. Like now that I have top surgery, not go out and start doing boxing like right now and just tear up all my scars. Like I have more control of that now, but that stubborn aspect of me is still here. And it's very good in some ways. Example, this context of the relationship breakup. Because I refused to sit here. I refused to sit I refused to sit here and accept, oh no, they broke up with me. My life's over now. I have no power over this. I'm in this helpless situation. They broke up with me. They have all of the power because they broke up with me. Now I'm left here with nothing. I refuse to sit in this state, even sit here and do nothing, sit here in this state and ruminate and be the victim basically. Not a victim, I'm a survivor and I will thrive. And I have been thriving. So reframing comes back to reframing, and in reclaiming power, changing how I see the situation. I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor of this very adverse situation that's out of my hands. And I'm leveraging it to thrive. I don't, yeah, just refused to concede defeat and that I've lost the whole game because I haven't. I've actually won in a lot of aspects. I've actually won, like, as I mentioned, I've grown a lot, like 7 months of relationship bootcamp. I wouldn't be who I am today without going through that experience. And I'm glad it happened. I'm very glad it happened. And I'm very glad it played out the way it did. Very glad. More solid independence, more confident in myself, more confident in communicating my needs, know what I want in a relationship now, stuff like that. Just so much wisdom and knowledge that would not have gotten it otherwise. And that is also an example of reclaiming power. It's an example of reclaiming power. I'm not in this helpless situation because they broke up with me. I actually get a lot out of this. So also with my previous breakups, I did not start smiling so much. Like I was smiling at least like a week after the breakup happened to her. And this is not a fake smile. Like, I am not fake smiling right now. Like it's actually a genuine smile. And I did not smile like this quickly, like almost 3 weeks after the breakup, smile like this after it happened. I was in sadness for a lot longer and stuck in a state of don't know how to process things a lot longer. I guess because it also happened twice and I sort of know myself better and starting to flip the switch and this perspective a lot quicker. It's all like training to me. Like this sort of overlaps with what I said before with bootcamp, but it's all training to me. This happening is training. Learning how to deal with the aftermath is training. Being in that relationship was training. Everything can be training to me. Like even seemingly little things I can take something out of if I see the lesson in it. That's how I sort of approach everything. It's like, okay, this thing happened. Usually more with difficult, challenging, negative events than positive. But even with positive, I can also learn stuff from it. Like, okay, this is something I'm doing well. This is going well. It's working. If it's negative, it's like, okay, what happened? How did I respond? What could be done differently next time? It's just a series of reflections. And it's like, okay, what did I learn? Who was I before? Like, how can I take this event that happened, this incident, this experience that happened, and leverage it and use it to become a better version of myself. Just continuously upgrading levels of just continuously upgrading, leveling up. This leveling up is not going to stop until I die. Like, I'm like 99.9% sure that I'm not going to reach a point where I'm just like, okay, I'm completely 1000% content with this version of Liv. There is nothing else better I can do. There's nothing else I can possibly work on. I don't think that's going to happen. The only time it's going to end is when I die. Just continuously taking everything, like leveraging it and just like using it to fuel growth. That's what I've been doing for years now. And I haven't gone back to watch some of my old YouTube videos from like last year or the year before then. But if I have those versions of left in those old YouTube videos, like the version of me that started this channel pre-transition, the version of left just came out, the version of left that was before T, the version of left that was after testosterone, the version of left before top surgery, the version of me now, and then in future the version of me in months time, a year's time, 2 years time, who knows. It's all just, to me it's a game. Life is a game of leveling up, and it's about whether I choose to get up or not. Like, as I mentioned before, I could take this breakup that happened to me out of nowhere, that was out of my control, as fuck, my life's over, they broke up with me, I'm a sad fuck, and there's nothing I can do in this situation. Not saying you can't be sad. I was sad a little. It's okay to be sad, but we have power in choosing what we do with the situation. Sometimes shit happens and we can't control it, but we can choose what happens. Like, we can choose how we frame it. We can choose how we respond to it, because the exact same event can happen to two different people, and those two people could have completely different outlooks on the situation, even though the exact identical situation happened to these two people. So you have power in choosing how you frame it and what you do with what happened, basically, whether it is in your control or not. Also, I'm not punishing my younger self for things I should have done, or why didn't I do XYZ, which is the same thing as why shouldn't I. Like, two versions of me, two different points in time, and it's not very fair to punish my younger self for things I should have done that I know now in hindsight, because that version of me didn't have this information that the version of me right now filming this video has. And also, being in a relationship, being in the relationship, and being outside of a relationship, I have two very different perspectives, because now I'm no longer attached to the person. Like, I'm not in a partnership with the person anymore. So there's more clarity in things. Younger version of me would have punished myself, being stuck in a vicious cycle of why didn't you, why didn't you, and it will just ruminate like this in a loop forever. Yeah, I don't recommend you punish your younger self either for stuff you know now that you might not know back then, when the incident or whatever it is might be happening, and what you could have done, because you didn't have that information and knowledge and training, or whatever word you like to use to refer to that. Like, the version of you right now is not the same version of you like back then, whether it's a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 5 months ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago. You're not the same version of you. So you might have very different outlooks and everything. Like, things change, and yeah, I don't recommend punishing your younger self for stuff, because at the time, like the Lev in that relationship, he did his best with what he knew, the knowledge he had, the confidence he has, and now coming out of it, he's leveled up into a different version of him, and he's going to take this version of him and ongoing into future endeavors and relationships, and not the previous version of him. In summary, I'm doing so much better right now that I'm not in the relationship because all the problems in hindsight and all the sweeping shit under the rug thing and denial and still walking on eggshells in the relationship, even though I was reassured that I don't have to walk on eggshells. I still walked on eggshells. That lingering feeling of fuck, something's not right here throughout the duration of the relationship is now lifted off my shoulders and feels like I'm a free bed. And the analogy I have is I like fire and I like phoenixes. So the line I have is, what is it? The death of the old version of Lev serves, I remembered it now. The death of the old version of Lev serves as the foundation for the rising of a new phoenix. And keep leveling up, yo. Keep leveling up. Thanks for watching, folks. And I will see you in the next video, which will most likely be a top surgery related video.